welcome to TheAIbumMan. And today, as you can see by the title, I'm taking a look at Iced F's Plagues of Babylon. But I'm going to be doing it in a slightly different format to my usual stuff. Instead of going track by track throughout the 13 songs that this album presents, I'm instead just going to be looking at it as a whole and just doing a briefer, more of an overview, album review of it. I just want to try out this new format, see how it works a bit for new albums, and please tell me what you think of it in the description below, etc, etc. I'm still going to be doing track by tracks. Now, Iced F are a band that I've liked for quite a while, ever since I heard Night of the Storm Rider. I can't remember who the vocalist is on that. I mean, Iced F have been for 1,000,001 vocalists. But what I always liked about Iced F, as opposed to other sort of European power metal bands, was they had a lot of more thrash in them. They're definitely more sort of a power thrash band. I always liked that, because power metal can get fairly stale at times, especially this more, especially since the 2000s, this sort of Euro power metal. It can get a bit tiresome, you get a bit sick of it after a while. But I thought Iced F always managed to keep things quite interesting with their, adding that element of thrash into it. And I've always thought John Schaefer is a fantastic guitarist. But I have to say, it's been a while since I've listened to an Iced F album. It really has. I think I pretty much only some of the earlier stuff I've listened to, Night and the Storm Rider and a couple of others around that time period. But I certainly haven't heard anything with the vocalist Stu Block, who I believe joined the band for 2011's Dystopia. Which, I have heard bits of that now, but originally before hearing this album the first time, certainly. So the first half of this album, the first 6 songs, are continuing the Something Wicked concept, which started with, I think it was like Farmageddon Sang Wicked, the last song, with the last album even, with Tim Ripper Owens. And I can't say I'm that knowledgeable on the Something Wicked concept. By what I believe, it's a fairly complex concept, and it's not something I can really talk about. I do not know enough about it, and I know, I'm sure there's a lot of Iced F fans out there who tear me apart on my knowledge of it, so I'm just not even going to go there. Instead, I'm just going to talk about, well, what the music and songs present. And this album is definitely an album of 2 halves. There's definitely, I'd say, a difference in quality between the first half, from Plagues of Babylon to The End, and then from Cthulhu to Outro. Definitely a distinct thing. But the first thing I have to say, and this is very personal, this is very subjective, I don't like Stu Block's voice. Personally, for me, it does not work. Sorry about that, but yes, Stu Block's voice, it does not go down well with me. Though this is because, I don't know, just by, certainly from the opening track, the vibe you get, to me, he just seems to try a bit too hard with his vocals. He has one of those sort of overly macho, sort of aggressive vocal styles, and it just feels quite false, quite fake, quite put on, trying too hard, and that just, I don't like that. I mean, I know a lot of people love Stu Block's vocals, and hey, that's cool, I can understand that, but for me, no. Way too try hard. But still, this first half of the album is really quite good. I mean, Plagues of Babylon has some killer riffs from Schaefer, some really good choruses, even if I'm not a big fan of Block's vocals. And then songs like Among the Living Dead as well, I really like that one. But my favourite on the whole album has to be The End. The End is, it's the longest track on the album, coming in at 7 minutes, and it really is quite epic. Has, a lot of that power metal, but again, quite a bit of, thrashy stuff to it. It's just such a wonderful song, it really is. But then the second half of the album, it really just doesn't deliver as much. I mean, songs like Cthulhu and Spirit of the Times, particularly, I just find really quite dull. A lot of these songs feel quite generic, quite stale. They don't do anything particularly interesting or exciting. They're just there. They're not bad songs, but they just sort of throw them in the background. They're alright, but they're nothing more than that. And that's the shame of this album. It does start off quite strong when it sticks with the Something Wicked concept, but as soon as they move away, they just seem to lose that spark, lose some of that energy, and I know a lot of people have really enjoyed this album, and you know, I can understand it, but to me, just too much of it is far too dull, far too uninteresting, really. I'm probably going to give this album, I would say, 6.5 out of 10. As I said, the first half, really good. Second, disappointing, and I don't like Stu Block's vocals. I don't think he's half as good vocalist as the person who's on Night of the Storm Rider, or as Tim Ripper Owens, and even though I'm not a big fan of Tim Ripper Owens' tenure injured priest, I have heard a couple of tracks from his stuff in Iced Earth, and I think he's quite, you know, sort of operatic, more so voice worked better than the over macho Stu Blocks. But this is just my opinion, a little brief mini review on Plagues of Babylon by Iced Earth. And this has been TheAIbumMan. Thanks for watching, comment, rate, subscribe, and as usual, long live rock and roll.